Hello, everyone. My name is Lozetta Hayden, and I'm excited to share my problem of practice titled Partners in Progress, or PIP for short. Strengthening family engagement through data transparency. This presentation was developed as part of my work at Wilmington University in the Involving Principals course. This is Gunning Beffert Middle School. It's where I currently work. I started there 2 years ago. This is my third year, and I was hired to work in our Intensive Learning Center, which is ILC. But at the time, I thought it was Intensive Learning Community. And so community just had a more wholesome, inclusive feel to it. And so I asked if we could change that to community, and it was accepted. And from there, I just thought that what we had created in the back with parental engagement, sharing of data, and things like that should be done on a larger scale and building wide. And so this assignment is near to my heart and one that I'm glad to do and implement. At Gunning Beffert Middle School, many of our families face financial challenges and only have surface level opportunities to engage with academic data. As a result, parents often don't have a clear understanding of how their child is progressing or where they need support. Partners in Progress is designed to change that by creating systems where families can regularly see, understand, and respond to student data, transforming information into partnership. When we look at statewide testing data results, fewer than 60% of Delaware students meet proficiency in English language arts, and fewer than 40% meet proficiency in math. Now, at Gunning Beffert, our proficiency levels are even lower. This tells us that to raise achievement, we must not only strengthen instruction in classrooms, but also help families interpret and act on the data that represent their child's growth or current status if there isn't growth. Through data and reflection, I identified 5 major root causes. The first being instructional gaps and curriculum alignment. Second, socioeconomic and community factors. The third one, pandemic related learning loss. The fourth, attendance behavior and engagement barriers. And the fifth one was family school communication and trust deficits. And I'll address each of these individually. One issue we found was fragmented curriculum implementation. Teachers following pacing guides without consistent differentiation. To close this gap, PIP suggests roundtable discussions among teachers, administrators, and even students to align expectations and strategies. We'll also revisit policies that restrict flexibility, ensuring all learners receive the right level of support. Many of our families are balancing long work hours, high poverty rates, and frequent housing transitions. PIP proposes hosting academic events after hours or virtually, so more parents can attend. We'll also identify students dealing with housing instability and provide additional access to learning materials remotely. Removing barriers means meeting families where they are. Unfortunately, the pandemic left deep instructional gaps that continue to affect today's students. Through Partners in Progress, we'll pinpoint the foundational reading and math skills most impacted and create asynchronous learning opportunities that students can complete at their own pace. That's the key part. It would be tailored to each student, and they would be able to work at their pace. This approach helps recover lost ground without adding extra pressures. Attendance and engagement go hand in hand with achievement. PIP will use family surveys to learn why students are missing school and will analyze how behavior patterns connect to academic performance. We'll also host student-led data conferences so students can take ownership of their progress and set goals alongside their family. One of the biggest barriers is trust. Families often feel disconnected because data isn't shared in a clear or consistent way. or because cultural and language barriers make communication difficult. Partners in Progress builds trust by offering transparent data sharing, family workshops, and school-wide events that celebrate culture and community. Another thing I'd like to point out is that though some families have a lack of trust, some families actually have too much trust. They just believe that we know best and they leave everything in our hands, but that also creates a gap in communication that's important also. I think for everything to get better, schools need to communicate with the families, and families need to also be able to communicate with us and not just trust the process, but to be actively engaged in the process. So, what is Partners in Progress? It's a structured, ongoing effort to build trust through data. Each month, families and educators meet to review progress reports, ask questions, and learn strategies to support their child at home. The goal is to make data conversations a normal part of our school culture, not just something that happens at report card time. So, the PIP implementation plan starts with monthly family engagement meetings. Each month highlights a specific focus: understanding data, diagnostics, tracking progress, celebrating growth, and planning next steps. Families will leave each session with clear, simple tools and strategies they can use immediately. It's about creating consistency and confidence over time. To ensure the initiative's success, we've indicated key performance indicator. We aim for a 25% increase in family participation at academic events, a 15% improvement in students meeting iReady growth goals, and a 10% decrease in chronic absenteeism. We'll also survey families. Our goal is that 80% report a stronger understanding of their child's progress. Administrative endorsement will confirm that PIP is ready to become an annual school-wide practice. For PIP to last, it has to live beyond one person or 1 year. That's why we plan to embed it in the school's yearly calendar and train staff to lead family data nights. It aligns with Colonial's leadership framework, especially vision, culture, instruction, and systems. Ensuring this work becomes part of our school identity, not just something that I did for a program or for a grade, but something that will live within the Gunning Bedford School and create something that the families can continue and the staff on for years. In closing, transparent data builds trust. Trust strengthens engagement, and engagement drives achievement. Partners in Progress is not just about sharing numbers, it's about sharing responsibility. When families understand the story behind data, they become active partners in helping every child grow and succeed. Thank you for listening, and thank you for believing in the power of partnership.